Greetings and welcome back to RealVacantLand.com. My name is Luke Smith, and today we're going to talk about 3 things that I think you should watch out for when it comes to subdividing land. I'm in Sweden today. We're in the woods. I'm enjoying some time in the woods. I had to get out of the house and thought this would be a great time to go explore in some woods and make a little video. So 3 things. Here we go. Number 1, economics. That's the number 1 thing you got to look for when it comes to subdividing land. When it comes to subdividing land, it's got to make economic sense. Now, generally, smaller pieces of land sell for more than a larger piece of land. If you go per acre, if you look at dollars per acre, per 1 acre usually sells more than a 5 acre. If you look at the 5 acre, it might be selling for, you can do the math. You can look at local markets, different parts of the country have different economics. Whether it's a 20 acre and you're making 5 acres, or it's a 1 acre and you're making quarter acres or 1/10 of an acre, or whatever it is. If it's a retail shop and you're cutting the different shops up and you're condoing them out into units, whether it's a tall building and you're selling them or you're cutting them up by floor, 1 floor, 2 floor, 3 floor, selling the floors to different people. Those floors, adding them up could be worth more than buying the whole building. It could be an office complex, and you could be cutting out different office units and condoing those out to the different owners or different people that want to rent the office, compared to just buying the whole building. It's a lot easier for them to buy pieces than the whole thing. They could use SBA financing, for example, for their business. So the economics have to make sense. If the economics don't make sense, the property is probably overpriced for what you're looking at doing, or it might just not make sense, and it doesn't make sense to spend all the time and energy to subdivide the land. So number 1, the economics have to make sense. Number 2, the regulations. When it comes to subdividing real estate, when it comes to subdividing land, lots of the times you're looking for regulations that allow you to get away with it fast and easy, and because fast and easy is profitable and you're taking on the least risk, right? That's what I'm always looking for. But sometimes it takes a lot longer time and it has more hoops to jump through and more things to figure out. And generally, when you look at the economics in real estate, the larger the spreads between the, buying the whole thing and selling the pieces, usually means that there's more hoops to jump through and more problems to solve along the way, making sure you get everybody's permission and everything. That's not always the case, though. And so I like to think about it from small to big, and I like to research it from big to small. But what does that mean? To me, from small to big, when we use a piece of vacant land as an example, vacant land, small is the street. I like to start with the street. Can I get to the street is a good question. If I can get to the street from the land, is the street private? If it's private, do they let me subdivide? There might be a grand hoo-ha-ha that oversees the regulations of that street. And that local person might not want any more people in their neighborhood or their area. And they say, no, you can't subdivide because of this, and this, and they break out the paperwork. And if you can get your hands on the paperwork, you can just jam it down their throat if it doesn't stop you. But if it does, it does. Just run. Stay away. You don't want to deal with the grand hoo-ha-ha of that street. All kinds of things go wrong when you try to subdivide in their face. So start with the street. Then look at the neighborhood. Maybe the neighborhood has regulations, if it's in a neighborhood, and go through their regulations. Then if there's a township, look at the township. Maybe the township has a grand hoo-ha-ha of whatever. They don't want more people in their township, or someone coming from outside and doing something like we're doing. And or maybe they do. Maybe it's really easy. Then look at the city. If it's in a city, sometimes the city's easier than the county. Sometimes the city's easier than the neighborhood. Sometimes the city streets are easier than the private streets. So look at the city, and if it's in a city, look at the city. And if it's in a county, it's going to be in a county, right? Unless it's a parish or something in the U.S. Look at the county level. The county may have their regulations and their different rules to abide by. And then above that is the state level. Look at the state. The state may have their regulations, and some states make it really easy. They say, our regulations are the regulations. The local hoo-ha-ha of whatever doesn't have a say. Some states like Arizona and Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, the Carolinas, I'm sure there's others, Texas, they have state laws that say this is the way it is. When it's above this size and it meets these guidelines, then the state rules apply, and the locals, too bad. But generally, as it gets below and down and into local sizes, little tiny sizes, more of the local rules and regulations and neighborhoods and stuff start kicking in and creating rules. So I like to start small and look at it on my way up, and then research it from big to small. So when I find an area like a state, like Arizona, for example, that's easy to split stuff because they've got state regulations, you could run with those state regulations and go smaller. You can go to the county, you can go to the neighborhood, you can go to the area, you can stay out of the cities if the cities are hard to work with. You can stay out of the neighborhoods if the neighborhoods are hard to work with. You can stay away from the private roads if the private roads are hard to work with. And you can find easy places to split this up. And now that's a lot of regulations and a lot of research to do. A lot of people hire attorneys to do that for them. Today's market, it's a lot easier, faster to use AI. I still think you should hire an attorney later on somewhere after you've figured out the basics of it and just get their blessing of approval to look at it, make sure there's no red flags. But generally you can use, I like Google's AI, and I think Perplexity in today's market, as soon as I make this video, it'll be something else. But today, October 2024, Perplexity seems to be the forerunner of researching these. Perplexity.ai. You can just type in, can I subdivide this land in this city, in this county, in this, whatever it is, and they'll spit out the different regulations and tell you what to look out for and what you can do, what you can't do, just by asking questions in different ways. And you can navigate through the regulations and find areas where it's easy to subdivide land in that way. So number 3, the third one, this is where I've been beat up. This is where I've been slapped in the face. This is where I've been kicked between the legs and thrown in the gutter. And that is making sure you can deliver the land before you sell it, or the property, the real estate, the condo, whatever it might be, when it comes to subdividing real estate, subdividing properties. Example, I bought properties in Arizona and in anticipation of splitting them, and I split them and I sold them, and I did that hundreds of times. You can go back in my YouTube videos back into 10 years ago and watch videos of me presenting properties of ones that I split. And I split hundreds of properties. I bought them, I split them, and I bought them, and I split them, and I targeted properties specifically like the ones that sold the best for the pieces. The pieces sell the best and the easiest, and if I could buy the holes to make more of those pieces, that was great. And I mailed offers to everybody that had those things, and I offered them cash at economics that would make sense to me. I said, I want to buy more, I want to buy more, I want to buy more, and I bought them by the hundreds. I split them and I sold those and did it again and again and again. And then the regulations changed. And where I got caught was I promised to deliver the properties to people that bought the properties, and they were going to pay on over time. They're going to make payments over time. And so in the regulations, when I promised, I could do it. I could deliver, I could get it to them, and all I had to do was get the deeds recorded with the new legal descriptions on there. That I had the legal descriptions already, and everything was ready to go. And the rules change. And so I found out on a Thursday that the rules are changing on a Friday. And that happened in multiple different counties and at different times. And they said, Luke, you should have, seen that law coming. We posted it, the update of it in the local town gazette or whatever that nobody reads. And it's like, yeah, sure, I follow those regulations that close. I've done this so many times for years, and now it worked just fine, and now it changes. So if you do all this research and you go through the whole process and you get it all figured out and you do it and it works, great. You do it again, it works, great. You do it again, you do it too many times, and the locals say, wait a minute, you're flooding us here with paperwork and maps and new people coming to town and pissed off neighbors and everything else. We got some new rules, and you have to abide by and make it harder, slower, more for the neighborhood or whatever they want to come up with the regulations for. That makes it harder for me to deliver those properties. I dealt my way out of them. I paid people, I traded properties, I gave them other properties. I did lots of things to get those settled. I give people other properties and got them all figured out. But it was very hard, it took a lot of time, and it was very frustrating. So if you're splitting properties, make sure you can deliver before you sell them. If the surveyor's on their way out there, that's not good enough. If the thing's gonna get recorded, that's not good enough. If somebody's gonna vote on it, that's not good enough. If it's gonna go through title, to me, that's not good enough. It's like, I think it should be through title. I think it should have like insurance on it already. I mean, even if it's going from your name to trust number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are, you're the trustee of or something like that, that it gets recorded and it's a transfer of ownership, and nobody's jumping up and down and yelling at you from the county or the city or all those bureaucratic parties I just told you about, and you get insurance on it, go sell it. That's I wish I did that in the past. That would help so much. So those are the three things that I think you should know and worry about and do when it comes to subdividing land. If you have questions, hit the comments below. I try to answer as much as I can. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.